Welcome to the Pageant Gal podcast, the show where powerhouse women like you learn to own your confidence and leadership, dominate the pageant stage, and even turn your pageant passion and experience into a thriving business. I'm your host, Maria, the Pageant Gal, a 5-time title holder and full-time international elite pageant and business coach. Welcome back to another episode of the Pageant Gal podcast. Gals, I want to get right into it today because this is such a powerful episode. It's actually based on my very first ever pageant win that I had almost 9 years ago now. And it's talking about, and I wanted to share the number one skill or one of the top skills and qualities that all queens and title holders need to have. And it's so important that you develop and work on and recognize and grow this skill before you win the title, especially because at the time of recording this, it is February 2025. So I find that the new year really does ramp up the momentum and actions and preparation for all pageant gals going into summer, spring competition season. And it's exciting. It's fun. You're taking the action. You're doing the runway. You're building your platform, your community. And one thing I find, and it's just like our own natural psychology, is that we look for the good. We look for the good and we resist the bad and the challenges. And the one thing that I know, being in this industry for over 8 years now, holding 5 titles, competing in 9 pageants, is that you need to embrace the skill of resilience and handling life's challenges with grace. And I'm going to share the story about how this lesson smacked me right in the face. Because if you're someone who only wants pageant prep to be good, or your competition to be good, or you want everything to go right, and if anything goes wrong, you are having a spiral, you're having a mental breakdown, a competition doesn't go the way you expected it to, someone says something to you and you're spiraling, like that is going to rock and shake your queen energy to your core. And guess what? It's only going to be magnified and amplified as a title holder. That's why I say we have to work on the fears, doubts, and insecurities that you have now, because the crown is not a fix for those things. And the one skill that you need to develop when it comes to handling these challenges that are inevitable is being resilient. So I want to share the backstory about this. Now, I mentioned before that I started competing when I was 21 years old. We have a few local pageants that were in the area. I did my first one, was top 3, went on to my next competition, was told by many people, you have to compete for a few years before you win. No, thank you, ladies. I was like, we're going to win this one on the first try. And that I did. So I became Miss Tecumseh 2016 on my first try. I was the first woman in 6 years to win the title on my first try, which was incredible in itself. And it was such a joy of achieving a dream that I thought would take me a lot longer to achieve, but I ended up finding myself in a role of leadership and responsibility so quickly. And what I was not prepared for was the lack of control that I felt throughout the year, simply because I was a new title holder, simply because I didn't know how to plan my reign. I didn't know how to set my own expectations. I didn't know how to manage, pressures from others and from myself. And this led me down a path of consistently thinking I needed to be doing more. And maybe if you're a pageant competitor or a title holder listening to this, you know that feeling. You know that feeling of, oh, I'm not doing enough. I need to be doing more. I need to make the most of the year. I don't want to waste this. Well, not only was I dealing with those emotions and feelings of needing to do more, because that's all the chatter I would hear around me is like, the title holder, you need to be doing everything. You need to make the most of the year. You need to do more than the girl last year. That was a huge thing that would trip up my mind. So not only was I facing that with the title, but then in my personal life, everything was kind of being put in a blender. So it started off when I won my pageant title. A month later, I got dumped by like my 3-year-long relationship at the time. And I thought, what? I'm a queen. You should be like obsessed with me or something, right? That's what I thought. Of course, again, I was naive. I was 21 at the time, okay? And then it was just a few months after that my nonna had passed away. And she was young. She was only like 66. I had 2 very big life changes happen during this time that was also kind of rocking and challenging my identity. Then a few months after that, I found myself hosting events, because that's what you do as a title holder. You host events, you do philanthropy, you do speaking, all of those things. So I was hosting a yard sale fundraiser at my parents' house, which I lived in at the time. And it was a 2-day yard sale. Day one went off. It was incredible, like super successful. We raised almost over $1,000 at this yard sale. It was amazing. And then we did it a second day on the Sunday. And I remembered that I could literally not get out of bed. I could not get out of bed to host the event that I was putting on. So much so that I slept in until past the start time, and my mom had to go and set everything up for me, which is like still so heartbreaking to this day. But at the same time, I love my mom, and God bless a mother who is here to help us through our challenging times, because truly, like, I did not have the energy to get out of bed. This was not me being lazy. This was not me being irresponsible. Like, I truly felt the weight of life and its pressures and these challenges weighing down on my shoulders. So much so, eventually I did get up. I did do the rest of that event, and it was great. It was fine. But I had a very big wake up call when I went to pass on that title. And I started feeling like the title was like these handcuffs on my wrist because I wasn't able to handle, and I was not handling these challenges very well. And this is something a lot of people don't speak about, right? We don't talk about it. We just say, oh, like the crown is a dream come true. But what about all of the women who are doubting and questioning and insecure and who are being challenged and not supported in those times? This is where I say, if you're only doing coaching leading up to the competition and you're not investing in coaching and support during your reign, girl, you're missing out. We don't just hire coaches to help us win. What about when we win? What, we're done learning and growing? No, we still face challenges. So I want to talk about what resilience really looks like and what I wish I would have had at that time going through that first title experience. And trust me when I say I had an incredible time being a title holder. Like, I had no issues enjoying the reign as well with these challenges, but I know I could have enjoyed that year so much more had I had this principle, had I understood these things. Because what does resilience really look like? One, it's acknowledging that things are not going to be perfect, and that we're going to have plans, and we're going to have expectations, and we're going to have dreams, and the reality is not going to be what we expected. And even if when it's not what's expected, we have to still show up, even if it's hard. So there were events that I was going to as Miss Tecumseh where I cried before I went. I did my makeup. I went to the event with puffy eyes, and then I went home and I cried. That was literally what it looked like, right? And again, like, it's one thing to show up when it's hard, but realizing that at that time I was building resilience. I could have not gone to those events. I could have canceled them, but I said, no, this is my responsibility, and I'm handling it. I'm navigating it. I'm gonna leave my tears for at home. I'm gonna put my chin up. I'm gonna put my crown on, and I'm gonna go to this event. But I wish that I would have known at that time that was me building resilience in showing up when it was hard. Because what was the alternative? I could have just stayed at home and cried more and been upset, whether it was for a breakup or for a passing, for grief, right? Like, there's so many different reasons, and you obviously have to use your discretion of what you're able to do at that time. But resilience isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up, and it's about handling these challenges even when it's hard. And it's also about knowing when you need to make a change, right? So the change that I had to make was that I needed to prioritize connecting with myself first. I needed to prioritize self-care. And whether you're one of my pageant gals or you're one of my empire business owners that I'm working with, I always say self-care. What are you doing for self-care? What are you doing for yourself every day? And some of my clients are like, Maria, I just want to do pageant prep. I just want to work on my business. I don't need self-care. Like, I'm good. And I say, that's great. You don't need self-care because things are good right now. But what about when things are bad? What about when the challenges are coming up? Then you really wish you had your self-care to carry yourself through that. Otherwise, when challenges come up, we feel shaken. And we don't just feel shaken for a minute or an hour or a day. These life things can happen and shake us for weeks and months on end. So resilience, when you strengthen that within yourself, your ability to handle challenges with grace and still show up and move forward, is your ability to not let the challenges of the world and the challenges around you shake you to the point where you can't bounce back in a shorter amount of time that you could. Not because, again, that we don't want you to feel and grieve and have your human experience, but because you didn't develop the skill. So that was the thing that I had to do. When I was done the title Miss Tecumseh, I told myself, okay, Maria, the next title we get, we're going to do it differently. We're going to make sure that we're prioritizing our heart, our health, and our happiness, then the title. And I also said to myself, we are going to focus on what we want to do for the year. P.S. This is me talking to myself. I talk to myself a lot. So I said, we're going to focus on what we want to do for the year. What events do I want to do? How often? Why do I want to do them? What experience do I want to have? What's the impact I want to have? And that is going to be my metric for success. And for those of you that have ever taken my program, Leave Your Legacy, this is exactly what it is. I teach my clients how to create a 12-month legacy plan. It was based on that first title I had that I realized we're not doing it like that again. And there's a better way to be a title holder that nobody teaches you how to do. But I'm going to teach my gals because I want you all to have the best reign ever. So you need to connect with yourself first. Right? This is how you're actually going to build resilience in challenging times. Resilience is not avoiding challenging times. It's not getting upset and having a tantrum and falling apart when challenging times come. It's learning how to connect with yourself and your why ahead of time and continuing to do those things through challenging times that will hold you. And the third part of this, so connect with yourself first, right? Self-care. Connect with your why and your plan, and realize if your plan shifted, okay, maybe you need to shift and adapt things. And the third thing is, in the challenging moments, asking yourself, what is life trying to teach you? When you're looking for the lesson and when you realize truly everything in life is about you recognizing that life is just trying to teach you and show you something. It's just trying to reveal something to you. So in those moments when I was going through my breakup, being a title holder, I remember thinking, okay, what's life trying to teach me? Who's the perfect partner that I want to have who will be with me through my titles and my reign and my career and beyond these titles that I'm going to have, who isn't going to feel insecure and leave me in the first month? And I wrote down all the list of those qualities of that person. And a month later, I met my husband, my now husband, Carlos. What is life trying to teach me in the moment where I can't get up for a yard sale event that I'm putting on? Oh, it's teaching me that I took on too much and that I'm exhausted and my body is tired and that I've been running myself ragged with my thoughts, my energy, my actions, and that the next time we host an event, it's going to be from overflow because we want to, not because we need to. Either how is this situation looking to grow you, or what is it trying to teach you? That's truly how you build resilience. You don't just handle a challenge and feel like you got smacked upside the head and then you're done and you're like, whoa, I hope that never happens again. No, you have to learn the lesson. Otherwise, life will keep presenting you more similar challenges until you learn it. This is where I say developing and really focused on intentionally developing the skill of resilience is a quality of a queen and a title holder. The women that you see in these big positions of leadership, I want you to imagine all of the challenges that they had to endure in order to become strong enough to hold that level of power, that level of influence, that level of visibility. We get stronger through these challenges, and that's why it is so important for you to embrace them along the way. That's why I say pageant gals are a little bit crazy, and we look for the challenge so we can develop even more resilience, so that we can become even more wise, so that we can learn how to connect with ourselves and not not be shaken through those times. Because I could have ended that reign over 12 months, something that women worked for years. I don't want to say handed to me. I absolutely earned it, but I got it on my first try. I could have decided, whoa, being a title holder, so not for me. I can't handle the pressure. This is too much. They want me to do too much. When the truth was, I was in control. It was me being the queen. I had the crown. I could have decided what I wanted to do. And had I quit at that moment and decided, nope, it's just too much. I'm too weak. I can't do it. I wouldn't have gone on to continue competing. I wouldn't be a Miss Canada now. I wouldn't be an international title holder now. I wouldn't be a full-time freaking pageant coach now if I would have just thought, oh, I don't want to handle any more challenges. Instead, I learned the lesson that the challenge was teaching me, and that led me to having an extremely successful and fulfilling pageant career in such a short amount of time, to having a career change doing something I love, to now getting to speak to all of you so that you can do the same. So what I want for you, pageant gals, is I want you to remember that challenges are part of the journey, and I want you to embrace them. When challenges arise, not even when challenges arise, but 3 things I want you to prioritize doing to build resilience when those challenges come up. And a challenge could be, again, a big life challenge, or it could be somebody saying a backhanded comment to you, right? Things shake us in different ways, and different people have different tolerance for challenges. But the 3 things I want you to do are: 1, in your preparation journey and in your pageant prep, make sure you're prioritizing self-care, something that fills up your cup, something that takes care of your mind, body, and soul. Connect with you, okay? The second thing is I want you to connect with your why. Why are you competing? Why are you doing this? What do you want out of this experience? And again, if you're not competing right now, ask your why for why you do anything. Why are you going into your career? Why are you starting a pageant? Why are you growing a business? What is your why? And let that be your North Star. And again, I want you to ask yourself when challenges arise, the third thing is, what is this trying to teach you? What's the lesson here? And you're going to practice these things before you get your crown, so that when you do have that crown placed on your head, it doesn't feel like the weight of 100 pounds crumbling you, where you lose yourself and you feel sucked away from your queen identity that you can't even enjoy it. Nobody wants that. I don't want that for you. And I know you don't. And it doesn't have to be that way. Build resilience. It is a quality every single woman, leader, and title holder at any level needs to start embracing and developing, especially if you want to have a more fulfilling and enjoyable pageant career and reign. And for those of you that want to learn how to develop your own 12-month legacy plan, I have a phenomenal program called Leave Your Legacy, where I walk you through exactly how to connect with your why, clarify your platform, and to develop a plan of action for your reign, where it's almost like it's like your pageant title vision board, but it's not just visioning, we're actually planning for the impact you want to create. So I'm going to link that down below so that you can have it, you can check it out and be able to purchase it and take it. That way, again, if you're a title holder, amazing, absolutely, you can grab it. But we start planning for the reign that we want to have now, so that when we get the title, you take it and you run with it. And you know exactly what to do with it because you plan for it ahead of time. All right, gals. I will see you in the next episode. As always, chin up, crown on, and go and conquer the rest of the day.